Like old friends, perennials return to your garden year after year and have a spectacular show of flowers during their blooming season. Today, Connon Nurseries will share some of their design, planting and growing tips. Where better to get great gardening advice but right from the growers? You're watching Daily Web TV. There are so many perennials to choose from. Where do you start? Well, who better to guide us than Rick Vernon from Connon Nurseries. Rick, where do you start if you want to create a perennial garden?
Well, initially you start with what your eye is drawn to. I mean, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Beyond that, then you have to think of what kind of situation you have in your garden, what kind of soil, what kind of sunlight, etc. And that's when we go about designing a perennial garden that's going to give you years of pleasure.
Right, so it's whether it's shade or sun.
Correct.
Right?
Yep, dry or a moist area.
Or moist, right. And there's something to suit every one of those conditions?
Absolutely. There are so many perennials. It's such a, they're so dynamic. Colors, textures, flowers, their ability to draw nature into your yard, butterflies, hummingbirds. It's just a garden without a perennial just is not a garden.
Now they come back year after year, correct?
They do, and that's what's great about them. I mean, as a consumer, you're always looking for something that's going to give you the most bang for your buck, and perennials do that. After about 3 years, most perennials start to mature, and you just dig them up, and you literally cut them with a spade or a bread knife, whatever you have, and instead of one plant, you end up 2, 3, 5, and just plant them elsewhere or add more impact to the garden that they're initially growing in.
Right. So does that mean you can now plan because you know they're going to come back year after year, so you can sort of plan out your garden a little more? Absolutely.
You just you leave a space for the fact that they are going to grow, that you can put something else there. Yep.
What are some of your favorites?
My favorites, I love the Heuchera family, or the coral bells. It's more a foliage plant, and it just comes in a rainbow of colors, from lime greens to oranges to purples that are almost black.
Wow.
Hostas. I tend to like texture and foliage more than the flowers, but when it comes to flowers, the late summer garden or the fall garden is my favorite, and that's when you have the cone flowers, the rudbeckias. There's just so many that extends that flowering season. A lot of people don't realize, they think summer's it, but it's not. Once the fall comes, you can extend that right through to almost winter.
So you have something of interest month after month within your garden.
Absolutely, and that's what you should be doing. You should be making a plan so that you have a succession of color, right from the bulbs in spring, which are in fact perennials, to even a fall flowering bulbs such as the crocus. There's no reason that your garden has to dwindle or become boring towards the end of the season. So vibrant life with perennials is really what it comes down to. Now, do you have a tip for all of us out there about a perennial garden? Yeah, as I said, as a consumer, before I started working for Connons, I was in the garden center almost weekly, seeing what's in bloom, what's coming on, and planting my garden. If it's in bloom now, I know that in August I can buy this, so I can plant that. In September, this is what's in bloom. So it was a learning curve, and there was always something to show me that I could have that succession of color right throughout the whole growing season. So something of interest. Thank you so much. That's a fabulous tip. So if you want to find out what's perfect at what time of year, make sure you visit Connon Nurseries often. There are 3 locations to serve you. You can also go to connon.ca to find out more. You've been watching Daily Web TV.